There's a man who walks into every room and changes its atmosphere without saying a word. He doesn't demand attention, yet every eye finds him. He doesn't chase respect, yet it follows him like a shadow. He doesn't raise his voice, yet everyone listens when he speaks. What makes him different isn't his looks, his wealth, or his achievements. It's something deeper, something invisible, something magnetic. Most men spend their lives begging for what this man breathes naturally. They plead for respect, chase validation, and wonder why the harder they try, the further it slips away. They've been taught that being nice gets you noticed, that being available makes you valuable, that being open makes you trustworthy. But here's the brutal truth. Respect isn't earned through kindness. It's commanded through presence. The difference between a man who commands respect and one who begs for it isn't talent or luck. It's the invisible boundaries he sets, the quiet standards he holds, the magnetic field he creates around his life. While ordinary men scatter their energy chasing approval, the magnetic man pulls everything toward him by simply existing in his truth. Tonight, I'm going to reveal the 5 invisible forces that separate the magnetic man from the masses. These aren't tactics or tricks. They're transformations. They're the difference between being chosen and being chased, between being admired and being tolerated, between being respected and being ignored. If you're ready to stop chasing and start attracting, if you're tired of explaining your worth to people who should already see it, if you want to become the man who doesn't need to prove anything because his presence proves everything, then this is your moment. Let's begin. The first force, the wall of worth. Every magnetic man has built an invisible wall around his soul, not to keep people out, but to keep his dignity in. This wall has a name, boundaries, but not the kind most men think they understand. These aren't rules you announce or threats you make. These are the silent, immovable standards that define who you are. Watch how most men handle disrespect. They react, they argue, they try to convince the disrespectful person why they should be treated better. They plead their case like a lawyer defending a criminal. But the magnetic man? He doesn't argue. He doesn't explain. He doesn't react. He simply stops engaging. Not out of anger, but out of self-respect. Disrespect isn't always obvious. It's the friend who interrupts every story you tell. It's the partner who dismisses your dreams with a shrug. It's the colleague who takes credit for your ideas. It's the person who only calls when they need something. Most men tolerate these moments because they fear confrontation more than they value their dignity. But here's what changes everything. The moment you stop tolerating disrespect, you stop attracting it. People can sense when you've built that wall. They can feel when pushing you has consequences. They instinctively adjust their behavior because they recognize something rare, a man who values himself enough to protect his peace. The magnetic man doesn't announce his boundaries. He enforces them. When someone crosses the line, he doesn't scream or threaten. He simply withdraws his energy, his attention, his presence. He becomes unavailable to those who don't deserve access to him. And in that unavailability, he becomes more valuable than any man who's always there, always tolerating, always accepting less than he deserves. Your respect isn't a democracy. It's a dictatorship, and you're the only one who gets to vote. The moment you let others decide how they can treat you, you've handed them the keys to your worth. Take them back, not with anger, but with quiet, unshakable standards. The second force, the sanctuary of silence. While the world drowns in noise, the magnetic man guards something precious, his inner peace. He's learned that chaos is contagious, but so is calm. He's discovered that in a world of reactive men, the man who stays centered becomes magnetic. Most men leak their peace like a broken faucet. They argue with strangers online. They explain themselves to people who don't matter. They carry everyone else's emotions like weights in their pocket. They say yes when they mean no, stay when they should leave, and speak when they should listen. They're always available, always reactive, always drained. But the magnetic man operates differently. He's built a sanctuary around his peace, and the admission fee is respect. He doesn't respond to every message immediately. He doesn't defend himself against every criticism. He doesn't chase every opportunity that knocks. He's selective about where he invests his energy, because he knows that peace is the foundation of power. When drama comes knocking, most men open the door and invite it in for dinner. The magnetic man doesn't even answer. He's learned that not every battle deserves a warrior. Not every opinion deserves a response. Not every emergency deserves his urgency. He responds when he chooses to, not when he's expected to. This isn't about being cold or distant. It's about being intentional. It's about understanding that your peace is your power. And anything that disturbs it without adding value to your life is a luxury you can't afford. The magnetic man has learned to say no without explanation, to walk away without justification, to stay silent without apology. Women especially can sense this quality. They can feel when a man's peace is unshakable. They can tell when his mood isn't dependent on their mood, when his happiness isn't hostage to their approval. This isn't indifference. It's something far more attractive: independence. The magnetic man doesn't need external validation to feel valuable. He doesn't need constant reassurance to feel secure. He doesn't need others to complete him because he's already whole. This wholeness is magnetic. It draws people in because they want to experience what he has: true inner peace. The third force: the power of mystery. The magnetic man understands something most men don't. Mystery is magnetic. While ordinary men spill their entire life story on the first date, share every insecurity with their partner, and post their every thought on social media, the magnetic man reveals himself like a sunrise, slowly, beautifully, deliberately. He's learned that the moment you become completely predictable, you become completely forgettable. The moment someone knows everything about you, there's nothing left to discover. The moment you expose all your vulnerabilities, you stop being someone to lean on and start being someone to carry. This doesn't mean being secretive or dishonest. It means being selective about what you share and when you share it. It means understanding that your struggles are yours to carry, your victories are yours to celebrate quietly, and your depth is something to be discovered, not displayed. Most men mistake oversharing for connection. They think if they reveal every fear, every doubt, every insecurity, they'll create intimacy. But what they create is familiarity. And familiarity, while comfortable, isn't magnetic. It's the opposite of magnetic. It's forgettable. The magnetic man speaks less and listens more. He asks questions instead of giving answers. He shares his victories, not his defeats. He reveals his strength, not his weakness. He shows his journey, not his destination. This isn't manipulation, it's mastery. When you become an open book, people stop reading. When you become a mystery, they can't put you down. The magnetic man understands that curiosity is more powerful than clarity, that questions are more engaging than answers, that the unknown is more compelling than the familiar. He doesn't need to be the loudest person in the room because he's learned that depth speaks louder than volume. He doesn't need to prove his worth because his presence proves it. He doesn't need to explain himself because his actions explain everything. The fourth force, the mountain that cannot be moved. In a world of reactive men, the magnetic man is responsive. There's a difference. Reactive men are slaves to their emotions. They explode when triggered, crumble when criticized, and chase when ignored. They let external circumstances dictate their internal state. They're thermometers, constantly changing temperature based on their environment. The magnetic man is a thermostat. He sets the temperature of every room he enters. He doesn't react to other people's emotions. He responds to them. He doesn't let someone else's bad day become his bad day. He doesn't allow another person's insecurity to shake his confidence. This emotional mastery isn't about suppressing feelings. It's about choosing which feelings deserve your energy. It's about understanding that just because you feel something doesn't mean you need to act on it. It's about creating space between stimulus and response, and in that space, choosing your power. Most men are emotional victims. They let their partner's mood determine their day. They let their boss's criticism ruin their week. They let a stranger's opinion shake their foundation. They're constantly at the mercy of forces outside their control. But the magnetic man has learned to separate what happens to him from what happens inside him. He can be insulted without being wounded. He can be criticized without being crushed. He can be ignored without being desperate. He can be tested without being broken. This stability is magnetic. People are drawn to those who can remain calm in chaos, centered in confusion, and strong in storms. They want to be around someone who won't crumble under pressure, who won't explode under stress, who won't break under burden. The magnetic man doesn't need to prove his strength through reaction. His strength is proven through his stillness. He doesn't need to defend his character because his character defends itself. He doesn't need to justify his worth because his worth is self-evident. The fifth force, the exit strategy. The most magnetic quality a man can possess is the ability to walk away, not from everything, but from anything that diminishes him. The magnetic man doesn't cling. He doesn't beg. He doesn't stay where he's not valued. He understands that the power to leave is the power to live on his own terms. Most men are prisoners of their own attachments. They stay in jobs that drain them, relationships that diminish them, friendships that deplete them. They're afraid of being alone, afraid of starting over, afraid of the unknown. So they settle, they compromise, they shrink themselves to fit into spaces that were never meant for them. But the magnetic man has made peace with solitude. He's learned that being alone is better than being in the wrong company. He's discovered that starting over is better than staying stuck. He's realized that the unknown is more exciting than the unfulfilling. This isn't about being reckless or impulsive. It's about being willing to choose yourself when others won't. It's about understanding that your life is too precious to waste on people who don't appreciate it. It's about knowing that you can rebuild, restart, and recreate yourself as many times as necessary. The magnetic man doesn't threaten to leave. He simply leaves. He doesn't announce his departure. He just goes. He doesn't explain his decision. He just acts. This isn't cruelty. It's self-respect. It's the ultimate boundary, the boundary between what you'll accept and what you won't. When you're truly willing to walk away, the magnetic man doesn't need anyone. He chooses people. He doesn't chase love. He attracts it. He doesn't beg for respect. He commands it. He doesn't demand loyalty. He inspires it. The magnetic transformation. These 5 forces work together to create something powerful: magnetic presence. It's not about being perfect. It's about being authentic. It's not about being the loudest person in the room. It's about being the most centered. It's not about demanding respect. It's about deserving it. The magnetic man doesn't chase attention because he doesn't need it. He doesn't seek validation because he validates himself. He doesn't fear rejection because he's already accepted himself. He doesn't worry about being alone because he enjoys his own company. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens one boundary at a time, one peaceful moment at a time, one mysterious smile at a time, one calm response at a time, one powerful exit at a time. It's the daily practice of choosing yourself, respecting yourself, and protecting yourself. The world needs more magnetic men, men who stand for something, men who won't be moved by every wind, men who create calm in chaos, men who inspire others to be better simply by being better themselves. You have the power to become this man, not by changing who you are, but by becoming who you've always been underneath all the people-pleasing, all the validation-seeking, all the desperate attempts to be liked. Underneath all of that is a magnetic man waiting to be unleashed. The choice is yours. You can continue chasing respect, or you can start commanding it. You can keep explaining your worth, or you can start embodying it. You can remain reactive, or you can become magnetic. The choice is yours. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to remember their power. Comment below, "I choose magnetism," and let's build a community of men who refuse to settle for less than they deserve. Your transformation starts now.